Welcome to The Arena. The Arena is an action-packed web series where teen entrepreneurs present their businesses to a group of coaches who are successful entrepreneurs, Olympians, professional athletes, and celebrities. It's not an idea pitch or pitch event. These teens already have a small business and are looking for advice. Welcome to The Arena.
Our moderator today joins us from EY, a global firm and leader in assurance, tax, strategy, transaction, and consulting services. I'd like to introduce EY executive and current America's corporate responsibility leader, Erica Patterson. Erica has served in a variety of roles, including most recently the director of the Office of the U.S. Chair. As the leader of America's corporate responsibility function, Erica is focused on helping EY operate as a socially responsible business and positively impact 1 billion lives by 2030. Please join me in welcoming Erica.
Thank you, Ed, and thank you all for joining us this afternoon on The Arena. I'm Erica Patterson, and I lead EY's corporate responsibility and employment engagement function, and I am so excited to be here today. Our purpose at EY is to build a better working world. We help businesses that are funding new ideas and creating the products and services that improve our lives and our planet. We do that by finding ways for them to operate more efficiently, to introduce new technologies into their operations and make them secure, to comply with legal requirements, and to transform themselves for the future with innovation. EY has been a passionate supporter of junior achievement for over 15 years, and hundreds of EY volunteers work with JA to support the next generation. Currently, EY is helping JA design, build, and launch JA Connect Entrepreneurship Pathway. It's a digital platform that provides middle and high school students with a self-guided, enhanced educational experience. And our goal is to help teach entrepreneurial business skills to young people and get them ready for the workplace of tomorrow. Now, if you're new to the arena like I am, this is going to be an action-packed web series. Teen entrepreneurs will present their businesses to a group of coaches who are successful entrepreneurs, professional athletes, and celebrities. And as you heard in the video, this is not a pitch event. These teens already have a small business and they are looking for advice to showcase their businesses as examples for youth all across the country. The coaches know what it's like to be in the arena, and they will provide advice to help these young people grow their skills and their ventures. For this episode, we have teens from all parts of the country sharing their journeys. But first, I am so excited to introduce our three amazing coaches. Our first coach is Julianne Hough, the CEO and founder of Kenergy. Kenergy is a whole self-fitness platform featuring innovative movement, breath work, and meditation classes that are uniquely designed to strengthen your body, connect to your dreams, and give you more energy. She is also a two-time winner of Dancing with the Stars. She's an actress, a singer, producer, and she is an Emmy award-winning choreographer. Please join me in welcoming Julianne.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. And I'm so excited to hear from all of you and offer my knowledge and my wisdom from the years of just journeying on what I do and how I can contribute to the world. So thank you so much for having me, and I'm looking forward to hearing from all of you.
All right, thank you, Julianne. And our second coach is Apollo Ono. He is the most decorated U.S. Mel Winter Olympian of all time. He is also a New York Times bestselling author and is one of Forbes and Fortune's 100 top speakers. And he is the winner of season 4 of Dancing with the Stars with Julianne. And out of all three of his books, he is most passionate about his current writing, Hard Pivot. Hard Pivot is an open letter to those who are struggling with reinvention, loss of identity, uncertainty, and those who must adapt quickly to survive and thrive in today's modern world. Please join me in welcoming Apollo.
Thank you, Erica, and nice to see everyone. Very excited to hear all about the progress, about your projects, your businesses, and your minds. And like Julianne, hopefully we can provide you with some insight over the experiences that we've had, the ups, the downs, the parallel, the static, and how you can reinvent and pivot and become the best version of yourself for not only the company and the ideas that you have, but also those who are surrounding you, and everyone will be uplifted in the process. So thanks for having me.
Awesome. Thank you, Apollo. And our third coach this afternoon is Brian Hamilton. Brian is an entrepreneur, a philanthropist, and the leading voice on the power of ownership to transform lives. Brian stars in Free Enterprise, a nationally syndicated show on the ABC network. And on that show, Brian helps formerly incarcerated individuals take steps toward true business ownership. He founded SageWorks, the country's first fintech company, which developed a patented technology that has helped millions of small business owners translate complex financial information. He is also the founder of Inmates to Entrepreneurs, the longest running program of its kind that teaches people with criminal records how to start and grow their own business. And finally, through his programs at the Brian Hamilton Foundation, he helps people overcome obstacles to realize their greatest potential is through business ownership. And in fact, Brian started his first business mowing lawns when he was just 8 years old, and he was the first in his family to go to college. Brian, welcome to the arena.
Hey, it's great to be here, Erica. And Madison and Jonah, you guys look great. Looking forward to it. A couple of points before we get started. I have been an entrepreneur basically forever. And I would just say to the kids, because it's not just the kids that, we're working with the teams, but really everybody. And I don't know Apollo and I don't know Julianne, but I can tell you just by their background that they've had to struggle through their endeavors through the years. There's no doubt about it. So a couple of points real quickly before we get started. One, don't ever let anyone tell you what you can't do. It's so hard growing up. For me, it was 1,000 years ago, but I do remember it. And there's a lot of people who will tell you what you can't do. Keep your dreams alive. It's very important to do that. And because you're going to struggle, there's no doubt about it. And some of you have. And secondly, again, I look at Apollo's background, Julianne, I bet you they're doing stuff they love to do. Try to find something in your life that you love to do. Because if you love to do it, you're going to be better at it. And there's so many adults, the old people like me, who are doing stuff that they don't love to do. So it's hard to be competitive, but also your work is not completely your life, but it's part of your life, an important part. So try to find something that you love to do. Those are 2 freebies before we even get started.
Love the freebies. Thank you, Brian. All right, so to kick off our event today, we're going to start with a 13-year-old entrepreneur who started crocheting at just 5 years old and hasn't looked back. Jonah Larson is from La Crosse, Wisconsin, and has grown his business called Jonah's Hands from a simple concept to a real business. Welcome, Jonah. And please tell us more about how you started your business and the current status of your business. Jonah?
Maybe muted.
Jonah, you need to unmute.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay,
Hi,
so I'll start over. Thank you so much for having me on the arena. I'm so grateful for this opportunity. And of course, my name is Jonah. I'm 13 years old, and I started to crochet when I was 5 years old. And it's been such a wonderful endeavor for me because in the past 2 years, I've been able to turn it in just a pastime hobby that I just did at home into an actual profitable business that I've been able to help others with and also help myself and my family. And I'll start with the story of how I got started in crochet because that's what came first and then came to fruition and spiraled into everything that happened next. So I started to crochet when I was 5 years old after finding a crochet hook and a bag of crafts that my aunt, who's a crafter, had given to me. And then my mom found me a YouTube tutorial on how to make a dishcloth. So I sat down at our table with that YouTube video and some yarn and a hook, and I made a dishcloth in about an hour that I still have and use today. And ever since then, I've just fallen in love with crochet for so many different reasons, and it's helped me in so many different ways. And for the first 6 years or so that I was crocheting. It was just something I did at home. And then a local newspaper article reached out and asked if they could do an article about me for my local paper in my city in Wisconsin. And they did. And then from there, I just kept going to different news stations and TV shows. And it just became a whirlwind after that. And from about a year and a half ago, it's increased so much where I now have my own website. I now have 2 books. One's an autobiography, one's a pattern book. I now have a line of 10 kits to teach kids how to crochet. And that's just one aspect of my business. Another aspect of it is giving back, which I find is very important because my parents have always taught me that. So I've worked with celebrities like Drew Barrymore, Melissa McCarthy, and Kristen Bell, and thousands of people from around the world. And I was able to raise enough money through auctioning off my items and the profits of some of the things I've crocheted and collaborations to build the kids in Ethiopia where I was adopted from, a library, and also a science lab because they had none of those. They didn't have libraries or science labs or any chance to have an education. And thanks to all the people I've worked with from around the world, I've been able to give them a library and a science lab. So I'm really excited and looking forward to going back to be able to see it. And there's just so many different parts of my business about trying to grow it. And one of the obstacles in my business is that my handmade items are in such high demand that if, let's say, I put up an Afghan or something on my website, it's gone in seconds. Like this morning, I put up 8 different sets of cute little baby booties that are rimmed with crochet fur on top, and they were all gone in 5 minutes. So it's really hard for me to keep up with the demand, especially because I don't crochet for the business. I crochet for it to be fun, and that means not doing it nonstop around the clock. It means just doing it whenever I feel like it and have a hankering for it. So is there a way that I could expand my business and my product but still have the same ethics of my business behind it and everything that comes with it? And that's the main question.
Well, first of all, I don't know who's starting, but you're incredible, Jonah. And I think the idea that you're even sitting here right now crocheting shows your passion and your excitement about what you do. And that authenticity is going to last you. It's going to be sustainable. And the fact that this is, something that you turned from a hobby into a career, I think is, don't ever lose that, because that's the driving force behind anything. I think you're on the right path already of being able to scale by the initiative that you took to train other people. So as you are giving lessons for other children and kids and teenagers to learn what you do as well and teach them how to do this, I think that's one opportunity that you could actually expand and grow and give other people opportunity to share their gifts and their talents, as well as being able to not be the only person fulfilling these obligations. So I think you're already on the right track. That's what I would have to say first and foremost.
Yeah. Hey, Jonah, I see you working there. You have orders to fill, I can tell. Incredible presentation, by the way. You don't need an MBA. I've got an MBA. You don't need to go to Harvard. You already did it. It's amazing. But I guess going off of Joanne's point, how many people do you have working for you now or subcontracting? Or it's not just you, right?
My mom helps me, and I have 4 people that in my family that help me ship out my orders, because I have, like, let's say sometimes 50 orders a day to ship out of hand salve and books and t-shirts and bags and my handmade items and all these different things and patches and pins that I just sell out of my house, and then I ship them out to people from around the world. So right now it's just me and my mom pretty much.
Yeah.
And
Jonah, do you pay her well? Do you pay her well?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, that's good.
Or I also wouldn't be able to do this because I couldn't do it without my mom and she couldn't do it without me. So it's a perfect partnership. And another way it works is that I don't crochet items for orders. What I do is I once in a while make an item and then I just put it up and it's gone in seconds. Now I have thousands of customers that are like check back several times a day and snap up whatever they can get their hands on.
Yeah, so one thing you might want to do is figure out what items, you know the items that sell real well. It sounds like a lot of them do, but take pictures and then maybe you could hire people called subcontractors. These are people who can do the work with you outside of your family because it sounds like the demand is tremendous and obviously you need a way to sort of fulfill that supply. So you might use subcontractors possibly to do that. And of course, with the internet, we have the ability to scale that and get it to a lot of people. But it's just an idea.
Yeah, thank you very much. That's the main issue of my business, that the demand is so high and I just don't have a way to supply all the huge demand. So thank you.
By the way, Jonah, that's an incredibly good problem to have, just so you know. That's only happened to me once in my career, so that's unbelievable, especially at your age.
Thank you.
All right, Apollo, any advice or coaching for Jonah?
Yeah, Jonah. Well, I think first and foremost, I think all of us are so impressed not only with your passion for what you do, but if for your age to be so articulate and understand, I think the challenges that you're currently facing. As Brian had mentioned, it's an amazing problem to have, and turning that problem into a challenge and then that challenge into an opportunity is going to be a gift to yourself. So I think something that I think about when I think about your particular business and the things that you're doing is because a lot of the things that you have to do require your time, and your time is the most valuable thing that you actually have. Your expertise around that time and how you use that time. So when we think about ways to leverage and scale our businesses and scale you, Jonah, because it's you're the brains behind this, you're the creative mastermind behind this thing. And so figuring out ways in which you can find to create what they call IP, intellectual property, or something that you feel is your, let's call it your style or your design that you feel is unique to your business, being able to use that and protect it in a way so that when you decide to grow your business, you then can, as others have said, train others or duplicate and replicate that model many times over so that you can focus on the things that make you the most happy. Versus saying, oh, I have to catch up with these orders and things are going to get more challenging. And they will. And as you grow and you go 2x and 5x and 10x and 100x your size, you're going to be able to have a great team around you who can support the ideas that you have. So you're not being pulled in either direction to do things that you don't really feel are your strengths. Now, it's not going to be easy, and you're going to have to do things at times that maybe aren't as fun as what you're doing right now. But overall, this whole process is very, very beneficial. So if I could provide you with some insights is to think about two things. One, think about the things that make you and your company unique. Think about the things that make your company special, that stand out, and then really harness that. That's the brand that you're building. And then two, as you grow, make sure not to lose sight of why you began in the first place. And I think as we grow and things get very busy, sometimes we get distracted around the reasons why we began in the first place, which was your true love for your craft. And once that's always at the center of your heart and the center of who you are, everything will become much easier. They will start to what we call manifesting, and they'll come into your life. And for some reason that we can't even explain, things to happen, and they just start to evolve over time, and they all connect, like connect the dots. So you are absolutely on the right track. Smile, be proud of yourself. It's really an incredible, amazing accomplishment. At the age of 13, I couldn't say half the words that you said during this presentation. So I'm really impressed, and I'm really excited to watch you grow and your company in the future.
Yeah, one thing off of Apollo's comments too, I'll just sort of jump in here. I think it's a really good insight that he had, Jonah. There might be a way for you to sell intellectual property, sort of what's in your head, maybe through designs and stuff like that, rather than having to make everything yourself or even possibly hire other people. You could sort of build your brand and sell your IP, we call it, the designs. I thought that's a very creative idea. You might look at that as a way to scale a lot faster.
Well, yes, thank you. Actually, regarding selling my intellectual property and my designs, I've already done a lot of that because these kits that I've designed for kids, I designed those. The T-shirts, I've designed those. But also Anthropologie, the clothing company, I was for a while there, I came up with a lot of designs, and then I went down to the flagship store in Philadelphia and sold off all those designs too. So I've already done a little bit of that too, but it seems like something I could definitely expand on in the near future.
Okay, we're looking at the first trillionaire, guys. The first
Yeah.
trillionaire in the country.
That's
amazing. It's amazing.
Amazing. And what I heard from the coaches were just, in fact, I took notes, life lessons, some nuggets I think that we all could use, entrepreneur or not. So thank you so much. Let's move on to our second entrepreneur. We are so delighted and excited to have Madison Miner. Madison is from North Branch, Michigan, and she is the founder of Love a Fellow Human, a custom clothing business that's focused on spreading love. And boy, do we need love. So Madison, I'm excited to hear more about your business.
Yes, I'm excited to share with you. Of course, following up Jonah was tough, but I definitely need the education. So I am Madison Miner. I'm a 21-year-old college student. I'm actually an athlete as well at Campbell University, and I am starting the MBA program on Monday, actually. So I've always aspired to start a clothing brand, and during quarantine, as time felt like it was at a standstill, I thought about how there's always still time to make your dreams come true, inspire others, and of course, be kind, even in this time when the world seemed kind of shaky. I'm also all about expressing myself through fashion, and while in quarantine, I'm sure like all of you experienced, we were in our sweats all day. So I thought about how can I express myself while being comfortable? So this last semester, I was given the opportunity to pursue the dream of starting my own clothing brand in my entrepreneurship seminar class as a final project, and that's where Love a Fellow Human was born. I created the slogan, "There's still time to be kind," and the concept is that the product will be from a fellow human, which is me, and then you can also take it like we should all love our fellow humans. The brand name, slogan, and my story make me relatable to my target market. And as I was searching for a problem to solve in my target market during my customer interviews, I realized that there was a real need for an affordably trendy jogger set. During my customer interview process, I was able to show it off to about 20 people, and all of them were extremely interested in becoming future customers after hearing from me and seeing my designs. I was also approached by a few of my female classmates after presenting my final project in the classroom where I wore my first prototype. I'm aware that jogger sets are a very large market right now, but I felt like I could differentiate myself with my design, pricing, and my team. So my mom actually started a t-shirt printing business in my backyard in my very small hometown of North Branch, Michigan over quarantine. And that's where my mom and my sister stepped in to help me execute this idea. My sister made my design come to life over Illustrator over many FaceTime meetings as I was at college. And my mom printed my very first prototype just last week. And as of yesterday, I'm wearing my second prototype ever. So being a family business run by all women makes Love a Fellow Human unique and is very special to me. And then working on this has been quite the learning process and helps me improve my entrepreneurship confidence. And so for now, this summer, my team and I are ready to take this business to the next level and get out the final product to our waiting customers and acquire new ones by marketing on social media platforms, especially platforms like TikTok. I've seen small businesses really thrive on there. And then I was also thinking about like sending my product to a couple influencers who are in my target market or would reach them, like Charli D'Amelio or Julianne Hough, maybe. And, so yeah, and I mean, they would have to love to wear it, but it would be a great form of advertisement. And then in the future, I would like to create more designs where it still says there's still time, but maybe the be kind is different. Maybe it's there's still time to smile, there's still time to do whatever, so forth. And then I was thinking maybe in the future going to mommy and me matching jogger sets, which I think would be really cool. And my main question, I guess, for going into this summer and what I want to do is I've been searching for like 2 to 3 months for a wholesale jogger set that is like still good quality, but that I can still make a profit on when I resell it, but also keep it at the affordable price. if that makes sense.
All right, that's awesome, Madison. Thank you so much. I will turn it over to the coaches.
Okay. Madison, could I ask you a question? Actually, really interesting. Have you sold any units yet? Are you still sort of pre-revenue, or where are you?
Yeah, I haven't sold any yet because I've had 2 prototypes and like I just still don't like the quality, and I don't like where I'm getting them from because like the one I could have wholesaled, but I didn't like the quality, and then this one I can't really wholesale, and I mean it's still, I like the quality better of this one, but it's still not what I'm looking for.
Yeah, and by the way, Madison, too, I just my kids say I always do this to them, so I apologize in advance. You know, I'm giving these life lessons, you know. But there's you, of course, you know, it's wonderful, and Jonah, and the people I see on the screen. But there's, you know, 100,000 kids out there in the United States. One thing I would say is I work with a lot of entrepreneurs. I've been one. I've done all this stuff. Focus on your first dollar of revenue. There's a going from 0 to 1, big deal, right? And so it's not to negate your question. I want to be really clear. I'm going to get to that. I'll try to answer it, okay? But try to get to that first dollar of sales, because the difference between pre-revenue and revenue is monumental. I remember at SageWorks, which we sold to a PE firm, our first dollar of revenue was $14. It was a report. And it was literally better than anything that ever happened, including when we sold the company. You know what I mean? So getting the first dollar of revenue. With regard to your wholesale question, I will tell you that fashion is not my game. You know, this is not me, right? But having suppliers lined up is absolutely important. You know, you talk to a lot of people, you look at the quality, you know, you're going to do the look, the feel on it. You want to get a good supplier. I mean, I know you know this already, and I know your school, I've been there, so they teach you this. Good, you know, low prices, right? Good quality. You want to sort of, that's always going to be a bit of a trade-off, you know, like a price and quality and all that. But you'll probably develop what I call a feel for the ball on that. You'll sort of know where you need to be, but you're very wise to set that up and make sure you've got a good supplier, okay? That's absolutely great. But getting that first dollar of revenue, boy, that's a big deal. So any way you can kind of get that going, because what you're always looking for, Madison, is rich customer feedback on your product. And, you know, one of the companies that we license to, Intuit, the makers of Quicken and QuickBooks and TurboTax and all that stuff, they're geniuses at that, following the customer. So definitely it's important who your suppliers are. You want low prices, you want good quality. You can, you know, I'm sure you're doing that searching and everything, but get to that first dollar of revenue if you can, okay, if that helps.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you.
I'll jump in here, Madison. So you haven't found suppliers, you have not sold anything yet, correct? Like you're pre-revenue everything right now.
No, I have customers waiting, but no.
Okay, helpful. So so I have a lot of friends who have done these kind of direct-to-consumer D2C models via using Instagram and TikTok and all the social platforms. And they're amazing vehicles and avenues for you to really scale businesses, and they grow really fast. Mm-hmm. The differentiator is always going to be a key part of your business. And so for you to understand how social gaming works, social economics work, and also the influencer marketing game, which by the way, changes every 6 months. Mm-hmm. So on the algorithm side, how you utilize your marketing skills, your paid advertisements to use that targeted and retargeted, either it's Facebook, etc. So to remind yourself that you have to be on top of the game, there's a lot of reading that will be required of you to make sure you understand, and you don't have to understand the algorithms, but you just need to understand how, when you spend $1, how many eyeballs is that going to be seen by? And then as you try to match up the metric of $1 in generates $2 of revenue, and then $4 in generates $15 of revenue, that will start to scale and as you start to grow your business. You know, I know that there's massive influencers and celebrities like Julianne who are superstars, but I would advise you actually to look at a more specific layer. Look at the micro influencers. Look at the people who you are not actually going to pay them but they are celebrating your product because you are gifting them the product. That is a much easier access point, because people like those who you've mentioned, sometimes they don't even get to see your message. There's so many millions and tens of thousands of requests all the time. It's nearly impossible for them to actually spend time to read your message. And they also have to just filter through what that looks like. However, on the micro influencer side, someone who's got several hundred or maybe even 1,000 or so followers, people are trusting their voices just the same. They're authentic, they're real, they can speak to the same type of values that you want them to hold. And your name in itself, the fact that you have love in it, is going to cater to a lot of people. The world needs love, as Erica said before. And so don't shy away from that. So to distill down kind of my insights and maybe potential some ideas is, one, understand the metric and the game of social influencer marketing on the e-commerce model. And there's so many different YouTube videos and things that are free for you to read about. Two is to really understand on the micro influencer side, start to categorize and list who these people are and engage in real authentic dialogue with them. Because when you engage with them, they want to celebrate you. They want to talk about your product. They want to wear it. They want to showcase this to the world. And the greater that you can have of the following around these supporters, that is your marketing engine. So really start to understand that is the power of social media. There's nothing wrong with shooting high to have someone who's got 10, 20, 30 million followers or subscribers on their channels. However, the greatest first step, right? If you want to move a mountain, you have to begin by carrying small stones. And so that process begins day in and day out.
Thank you so much.
Wow, such great advice from both Brian and Apollo. First of all, I love the concept. I love the idea that you're spreading love through what we wear. One of my biggest philosophies in anything that I create is it's 3 pillars: self, others, world. How is this connecting to myself and making me the best version of myself? How is this impacting the people around me, and how am I contributing to the world? And so I would love to ask you a couple of questions as far as your story. And storytelling is so massive because that's how we connect to what we enjoy in the world, what our purpose is, what we feel connected to, how we don't feel alone in the world. So as far as your company and Love, have you figured out your key demographic? Obviously you talked mainly about people your age and you want it to be affordable, but do you have a very clear idea of that person that's going to be wearing your clothing?
I mean, definitely I've narrowed it down because we did customer interviews for my project. So I found the people that were mostly interested. And again, it was mostly people like myself, and they're like that Gen Z, very socially responsible, wanting to be part of a positive change, that kind of person, mostly like outspoken people who of course like want to express themselves through what they're wearing, which is the whole idea. Yeah.
Well, I think that the idea too behind the socially conscious, I think, as Apollo was saying, was finding those micro influencers that have the same message, have the same values, are going to be super important. And then as far as figuring out your suppliers and everything, I mean, really making sure that the value stays authentic and aligned with your mission. Because at the end of the day, when things start coming in and money's coming in, all this stuff, you make decisions out of, being in a rush, or you have to get there quick. But I would just recommend that if you are aligned with your mission, things will happen regardless. When you veer off of the initial, alignment of what you stand for, that's going to be a hard, pivot to come back. Although pivoting is great because we want to be, adaptable and be able to shift as we need to, but always staying true to that core mission. So you sound like you have a very clear, demographic of who you're targeting. So you've already done the work there. I would just reiterate with, Apollo about finding the people that are willing to tell the story, not just promote product. because that's going to be an organic way to market. And, the best way that I've found through a couple of the companies that I've been a part of is when it is truthful and it's authentic, people will talk about it for days, and they'll do it organically and naturally, and they will do it for free. Obviously, it's nice to be able to be paid, but they would do it anyway. And so investing in the people and investing in the community of the people that you want to wear your clothing is more important than, not more important, it's as important as the product. We want a great product, but it's more valuable to value your community. So really just understanding them first and foremost will also, I think, drive you to find a better fit for manufacturers and all sorts of things, and making sure that, at some point you're probably not going to be making this yourself. So, thinking of eco-conscious and whatever it is that your target audience can actually speak to, finding, I know you want it to be affordable, but finding things that are aligned in value. I know for sure Gen Z and millennials are so much more willing and available to pay more if they believe it's actually changing the world and that it's actually going to be contributing to the world. So, obviously keeping that all in mind, I go back to the self others world. How am I creating this for myself and my passion? Am I staying aligned? Am I, helping the people around me live their most expressed, I love that you said expressed, lives? And then how am I helping the world in some form and capacity? So I don't know if I really gave you that much advice of what your question was, but hopefully that just maybe inspired to keep you connected to what the mission is.
Yeah, no, thank you so much.
Yeah, I'd also say, I'm going to jump through the screen here. That's incredibly great content. It really is, because being an entrepreneur is about, you're showing yourself to the world. So the more real you are to yourself, it's so rare, Madison. You know what I mean? Think about the products you buy every day. We buy stuff every day, but how often do you get stuff from businesses where sort of almost the soul of the business comes through the product? You see what I mean? And I want to go back to Apollo's point, unbelievably good. We call that a niche, right? I think that's great advice. Great to get the big names behind you, but if you can find niche players that have domain knowledge, really deep domain knowledge, they really love what you're doing, that's very powerful. Begin where you are today. That's great advice.
Mm-hmm. Thank you guys so much.
I have one more thing. Sorry, Erica, before you jumped in, before I forget. Also, this actually goes back to everyone who's going to be on this call, is to also think about ways in which already, even though you're pre-revenue, think about the types of partnerships that you want to create with organizations that you can then give back to. So, for example, something that I am always keen on advising to all of the venture capital groups that I work with, or all of the early stage investments that I deal with, even though they're pre-revenue for 4 or 5 years, we want to establish how do we help these companies and founders understand that they can pledge either through equity in their company, either through the potential future revenue of their company, 0.5%, 0.25%, whatever that might be, towards something that would then resonate with a lot of the people who would be purchasers and buyers of your products. So we as consumers are shifting into a new era. And this new era is that we want to align our purchases and our beliefs with companies that share the same values that we do. Either it's for the good of the planet on an environmental perspective, or in the ethical and the modern sourcing of the types of materials, or maybe even where the product is actually being created in terms of job creation, etc. These things are really important to the Gen Z consumer that you're talking about, Madison. And remember to always have that narrative in your mind, because we will always vote with our pocket, with our checks. And that's really important. So always put that first and foremost, whether it's learning to be a B certified company and going through that process. But there's all different types of avenues here for you to explore. And it's a real superpower. It really is.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you.
And Madison, you know, it's wonderful that you're starting something. To all the kids out there, do something, you know, start early, learn. Don't worry about failure. There's no failure in this field. That's why I love this stuff. Just get out and do something. And, you know, you're marketing yourself, you're marketing your product, but you're gaining incredible knowledge. So congratulations to you on just what you've done so far, really, because for everybody out there, just try something. And the earlier you do it, the better.
All right. What wonderful advice. My 2 takeaways: do something, and it's okay to fail. I love it. So we are on track. I'm going to keep us on time. Our final entrepreneur this afternoon is Juan Rodriguez Nunez from Houston, Texas. I'm told, Juan, that you already have 70 tutors who are ready to support elementary students in their studies. So please tell us a little bit more about your tutoring business.
Hello? Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. So hello everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to talk today. My name is Juan Rodriguez. I'm originally from Colombia, but I live in Houston, Texas. And my entrepreneurship project began when coronavirus started. So what we saw was people having problems, parents complaining about not getting enough help from the schools, students from elementary, middle school having problems to complete their classes, not understanding enough. And then on the other hand, we had us, the high school students, that we didn't have enough community service hours opportunities. So when I saw these different opportunities, I thought, why don't we create something that can help all parties together in one single platform? And this is when we created Student Power. So Student Power basically started from me with this idea and talking to my friends, people I trust, and just getting this community. And basically Student Power is an online student portal application that offers elementary, middle schoolers an easy way to connect with high school tutors. Younger students are able to sign up for tutoring sessions in subjects with they need help, and also have the opportunity to learn about the host of other topics. In order to become a tutor, the high school students has to complete requirements such as having 85 and above in the certain class they want to teach. And what we have with this idea of Student Power is helping the community, giving education for free for students struggling, but also high school students to complete their community hours, learn how to create a business. So we also, as a company, we bring internships to high school students who wants to learn how to create a business, what are the components, marketing, coding, and how to really just make your business from the bottom to the top. And that's basically what Student Power is all about.
I'll jump in, I guess. You know, Juan, are you at market now? Are you selling now, or where are you? You got a website? Tell me about where you are, kind of.
Yes, sir. So right now we have a website, studentpower.co. So at the beginning we started with a beta test in our school, and we gave the students just our school for free, our platform, and we have expanded to one middle school. We haven't sold them the software because our idea is to give them first the free trial for them to try how it works in their community, but also we're planning on expanding to another high school in the Houston area.
Yeah, by the way, for everyone out there, that's terrific. Like, you're getting users, and that's very powerful because you're going to get that data from them and make your product and your platform better. So that's terrific. About how far are you from revenue? Any idea on that now, or you're just getting out to market?
Well, yeah, we've been in market for around, it's going to be in the next month, a year. We have our revenue, and how we keep the platform going is from the different pitch competitions we do with Junior Achievement. So that's our source of revenue right now. But in terms of getting revenue from our project, we're planning on getting revenue by the next 1 to 2 months from the high school we're planning on working with.
That's great. Do you have any partners or anybody you're working with, or is it just you?
Well, yes, my team is composed of 4 students. We are all international. We have a marketing person, digital marketing. We have the coding person, and then we have the product development. But that's our team is a team of 5 people.
Yeah, again, great. You're getting started. That's terrific. And you'll learn a lot about your platform and what to improve as you get users. So I guess, it's great to make money. There's no doubt about it. But for everyone else listening, if you can get users in the beginning, that's how tech companies get going. You don't need revenue in the very beginning. It's nice to get it eventually, but you got a good start.
Thank you.
Hi Juan. Is the idea to be selling to high schools directly and building that way, or what is your plan as far as distributing this software and how you're going to really take this to the next level?
Right, good question. So basically our revenue model is to sell to the actual high schools. So they will be paying in an annual basis. And for them, then once you're a student of that school, either a middle schooler or a high school student, then you'll be able to use the platform for free, either to tutor, to get your community service hours, or to get help in subjects such as math, science, social studies, English, and multiple languages.
Great. And are you working just directly with high schools, or are there organizations and partners that and excuse me for my ignorance on this, but are there school boards and are there, government that could even help, create a streamline to have access to more high schools?
That's I think our main problem or main question to you coaches. It's how do we approach to these schools? We know it's a B2B, it's a business to business relation. It's not a business to consumer relation. So it's harder to pitch our idea and to get customers, in this case, high schools or just the school areas to buy our product. But in terms of now, we've been contacting through our school community from our school. We're North Anglia education kind of business that has 60 schools, sorry. And then from there, we communicate to other schools to do the beta test and offer them our project, our idea.
Great. Feel free to pop in here, both of you. But I was curious because, I think it's a great idea, as Brian was saying, to keep with the beta right now and continue fine-tuning your programming, your software, the user experience, as well as just getting feedback from the different schools, as well as having that data, having that community, so that when you can actually go and pitch this on a larger scale, you got the results, it is right there, and you get to have something to show for. So obviously, having a little bit of income is great so that you can keep the business going. I would, again, kind of what I was saying about Madison is really looking at the social economic, like the areas that need this the most, that are going to be able to have the most value add to their lives, and target those specific high schools that you feel probably are in need of this more so than other high schools. So really kind of targeting which ones you think would benefit the most and be able to see the results, so that you can have that quantifiable data to show for. That would be my first bit of advice, is just finding these specific high schools and doing your research to see who really needs it, benefits, and can show that data.
Thank you very much for your feedback.
Juan, I have a question for you. How are you incentivizing the tutors?
Well, what we do is that when they join our platform as tutors, we basically, they become part of our community. So we do more than just them doing tutoring. During the weekends, we gather all the tutors, we do different events, doing different activities. We currently do social marketing to tell them the main purpose of first, of course, for them is complete their community service hours, but it's also to help others in our community to improve. And that's basically the way we help high school tutors to just keep doing tutoring in our platform.
Okay. And then what do you charge the students who sign up to use the platform to be tutored by the high school students?
Well, we're for the high school students and for the elementary middle schoolers, it's free since the school is paying for our service.
Okay. And how do you validate the tutors? Like, how do you find a way to say, okay, this person is qualified to be able to tutor this elementary school student?
So when they go to studentpower.co, when they want to sign up as a tutor, they go through this application progress where they have to put their report of grades from past years or the current year, and then from there our team reviews the subjects that they want to teach, and if they have an 85 and above, they will be allowed to tutor the subject that they're looking for.
That's great. And then the curriculum specifically, are you creating that, or is that done in partnership with the high school?
What we do is that we know that most of the high schools, what they do is that they give you a report every semester of how your grades are doing. Then what we ask them is to create it, to put in a PDF, and then they will submit it through the application. But that just really depends on the high school where they are submitting the application.
Really interesting. I have 1,000 more questions because I love ed tech. I've invested a lot into ed tech. I have a lot of friends who've done very well in ed tech, specifically in Latin America and South America. And so I actually had a meeting yesterday with someone who has done a lot. He also himself is Colombian, and he primarily focused on the Spanish-speaking countries because that's where he felt there was a necessary need and his strength was there. I have an idea for you, is to think about ways not to only focus on what we would call maybe a B2B, where you're really focused on high schools. Sometimes high schools are challenging because they don't have a lot of excess money to spend. And typically they have a really hard time releasing that capital, releasing that money to outside ideas. So maybe keep an open portal for your platform just to allow existing students to sign up on their own and to say, hey, I see value in me getting real education, real tutorship through other people who are out there. So it's not only done B2B, it's not only controlled on the high school level, but you're actually able to go directly to the students themselves or even directly to the parent. That would seem like that'd be another avenue of revenue stream for you to create as you grow your business. Again, I don't want to distract you away from what your initial ideas were, but just keep that in the back of your head that if you're starting to run into some resistance on the high school level, think about ways in which you can directly target those who are seeking the tutorship and the reasons why to make that a very compelling discussion and presentation. I think tutorship is amazing. As you know, that's why you started this business is because you know it's a necessary and a need and a requirement. And I think if you can just follow some of the other ed tech platforms out there, see what has made them successful, whether it's a Coursera or it's a Udemy or even the masterclass model. There's many, many ways. Even YouTube is basically an ed tech platform. So think about ways to differentiate yourself from your competition. And again, that might be the fact that you are Colombian, the fact that maybe your native and primary language is maybe Spanish or whatever it might be. So think about these things in a more three-dimensional way in terms of how can Juan and his team differentiate from all the other people who are out there trying to pitch their education platforms in the same realm. That's kind of my thoughts.
Yeah, that's an incredible point, by the way, for all the entrepreneurs out there, the need to pivot, right? So if you're trying to do enterprise sales, like selling to the schools, like Apollo said, and you're sort of hitting your head against the wall and it's not working or not fast enough, Juan, you can pivot to the consumer, to the student. But I think the big point is, it's a great point, it really is, the need to pivot. You get information, and if something's not working, you shift. And I often say, most entrepreneurs don't start out with the best idea. It's the greatest thing, right? They get out to market, they're listening to people, and they're pivoting and they're moving based upon feedback. That's a great point, Apollo, because you may be right. I think you might be. Doing enterprise sales, especially for the kids at this age, could be tough. You got to go sell to these administrators, that type of thing. You got a big sales pipeline. It takes a long time to close the deal. But the real important point is to pivot as entrepreneurs to where the money is. And, that's just a great lesson and a great point.
Thank you very much.
All right, that is fantastic. We have about 5 minutes left, and it's been a fantastic hour. We've heard from Jonah, who's still crocheting, by the way, so I think that may break a world record. We've heard from Madison and Juan, and by the way, all still in school, running their own business. And Madison, I heard you are getting your MBA, so shout out to you for doing that while starting your own business. So, but before we go, I just want to maybe 60 seconds, a minute, give each of the coaches final 60 seconds to give us some parting words. So we'll start with you, Julianne.
First of all, I just want to say it is so courageous to have a dream and have something that you're passionate about and actually take action. So I'm just so impressed by all of you and inspired and excited to see what you create, maybe not just now, but in the future. And to also just remember, as Brian said, just to start. You don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. So just getting out there, trying, fail, but fail fast, move on really quickly, and do the things that, keep things alive and fun. At the end of the day, like, we talk about sustainability in the world and like we want to save our planet, but we also have to think of sustainability within ourselves too. And if we're going to burn out by doing things we don't enjoy, that's not sustainable. So finding passion, pure belief in what you're creating is going to find just so much more energy. That's like an upward spiral versus like a pushing and a pulling. So really finding the things that make you happy. And if it doesn't make you happy, find something new. There's a bazillion things out there that are just waiting to be discovered. So just know that anything is possible. You have your whole life ahead of you, and just to, we are beings to create. We've been created to create. So anything that you do, just have that passion and that desire of just being happy, to be honest. I know that's like really philosophical and it doesn't really help the revenue come in, but if you can internally be happy and really excited about what you're doing, you're going to send out energy and vibrations that are going to bring so much to you. So just continue what you're all doing. You're all making impact, and I'm super honored and proud to have been a part of this and to share with all of you.
Oh, so good. Thank you, Julianne. Apollo, parting words.
Yeah, thank you, all of you, for presenting today, and courageous is such a great word, Julianne. Julianne herself has a tremendous amount of courage, and she's displayed that so many times over her very evolving career. It's really been beautiful to watch. And for those of you who don't know her story, I really urge you to read into it, because it's very powerful about where she came from, what she's gone through, and how she's blossomed, and how she's giving back through her strengths and her passion. And although she said something about it doesn't drive revenue, I actually think it does. I think that from your heart and from your mind, if you can create this unification of both, you'll find something very, very sweet there that is almost, it's unlike anything else that you can experience. And so no doubt you will face really hard times, and it's going to be tough. And as one of my favorite quotes of all time, they say, good timber does not grow with ease. The stronger the wind, the stronger the trees. And so remind yourself when nothing makes sense, when it doesn't seem like it's working, you will always have an opportunity to rise again, to be grateful for the opportunity that you have in front of you, to learn how to fail fast, because sometimes the first iteration of your idea, by the way, almost all of the most famous companies that we all use in technology today are multiple pivots and iterations or reinventions of the original idea. And so it's very, very, very important for you to stay true to the path, to learn as you go on, and not always be so tied to the outcome. That's a beautiful thing to have, as an archer has a bow and arrow, and as he or she is looking at the target, it's important for us to see the target with clarity, purpose, and vision. But after we let go of the bow, after the processes of the training and the repetition and doing the techniques appropriately, as soon as we let go of the bow, you have to surrender to the outcome because it's no longer in your control. And that's a superpower. And so as you go through this process and as you go through your businesses, there's going to be many times where maybe you feel like you failed, but those are only failures if you stay down and you can't extrapolate or you can't extract the learnings from them. So when you see someone who's not smiling, give them one of yours and know that you're going to have many, many other opportunities to grow throughout your very long and beautiful lives. So thank you for having me.
So good. Love it. Thank you, Apollo. Brian.
Now, how do I follow that?
Man, I feel like I could drop the mic.
That's like impossible. No, seriously, I'll just say ditto to those comments, both of them. Unbelievable. And I would just add, I'll end with where I began. Try to find something that you love to do. Don't ever work a day in your life. The best businesses are started and run by people who love their craft. Look at Jonah. He keeps going here on this screen. It's unbelievable, right? He probably likes this, right? So just don't work a day in your life. I know so many people who are doing things they don't love to do. Life is short. It really is. It truly is. So try to find something that you're passionate about and you won't work a day in your life. That's been the case for me. I've been very fortunate because I started early. So great to meet everybody, by the way. And it is courageous to be on here. Unbelievable. Thank you.
No, thank you, Brian. So look, we're over time, but I personally want to thank Jonah, Madison, and Juan. Brian said it, for the courage, for inspiring us today. A big shout out and thank you to Julianne, Apollo, and Brian for providing the insights, the guidance, and the encouragement to Juan, to Madison, and Jonah. Entrepreneurship is the engine that drives innovation in our country. So having venues, having the arena for our young people is just incredibly important. And we know that it's an important calling. And I challenge all of us, all of you on the other side of my computer to really take heed to the challenge. And a special shout out and thank you to the Brian Hamilton Foundation, to Junior Achievement, to the Taco Bell Foundation for supporting the effort. And then finally, thank you to the students, the educators, the parents who took time today to be a part of the great experience. So on behalf of EY, it has been an honor to host you today. And as we continue to collaborate with Junior Achievement to support the future generation and entrepreneurs like Jonah, Juan, and Madison, we're looking forward to the next partnership, the next collaboration. So having said that, thank you for joining and have an amazing day.